It was sort of unthinkable that we would have an American reporter here representing American reporters.
Yeah.
You know, can you talk a little bit about how the administration's attitude toward the press has actually affected people overseas, both the people that are close to the president and reporters overseas?
That's a great question. I do think when we talk about the administration's impact on the safety of journalists, that there's two ways to look at it, and one is the relative safety of being an American political reporter and whether that's changed, and the second is its impact overseas. And I think the impact has been stronger overseas, or is potentially more threatening overseas. Early in the administration, domestically, you could feel the tension ratcheted up at some events that you were covering, political rallies, for example. There were a number of times when I or some of my fellow colleagues just didn't feel safe. It seemed like a situation where the crowd was whipped up and things could turn quickly, and that's not normal for being a journalist covering politics. There's always, across partisan lines, been a wide acceptance that you know, reporters are in the room to get the sense of the crowd and to share that information with people, and that's of value. So that's worrisome, and the kind of threats that are mostly social media rhetoric, but often beyond the pale, that has ratcheted up. And inside our membership, the WHCA has created a committee this year on reporter safety, so that people can, it's voluntary, but so that they can come report to the board if they've been threatened or how they've been threatened, and whether it's something they need to contact the authorities. That's like a new mechanism that we've set up, and it doesn't, I don't feel great telling you that, but yeah, it's true, and hopefully it's been of service. But there is an impact overseas also that does concern me, and it is the part of the way that U.S. presidents have always kind of construed the rhetoric about the free press and the First Amendment is to signal to other countries that freedom of the press is kind of one of those pillars of a rule of law society that the U.S. Wants to encourage and on some level expects. And even if it's not a direct threat, the idea that aid could in some way be tied to this, that expectations and U.S. alliances revolve around it, the thought has been it at least has some potential positive effect, right? I mean, does the U.S. have alliances with countries where press freedoms are not protected? Yes. Has that existed with past presidents from both parties? Yes, of course it has. So we all know that. But it's different to stand side by side with a leader known for repressive and violent tactics and laugh at jokes that aren't funny, then
about assassinating reporters.
Yes, that's right. And so it's tremendously troubling. But it's something that personally I worry about a lot, and that our members worry about a lot also. You asked another question too, which is about the attitudes of the administration toward the press, and I think that's a more complicated question. I really do. I think there's a real range inside every administration, and it's true of this one also, about the people who, from the career employees to the political appointees, how they feel about the press. And there are many inside every administration, including this one, who believe that the press is a fundamental part of democracy and needs to be protected, and that there needs to be an open and honest working relationship with the press, because the press represents the public and it's a major component of democracy. I don't want to speak for the president. I can't get inside his head. I am not convinced that he wishes ill things or violence on anyone in the press corps. It's not my sense that that's the metric by which he makes his decisions. I also don't have any reason to believe that he feels that it is his responsibility to protect us or to champion us here or overseas. I just don't, he has not demonstrated that he thinks about it in those terms. And when you're interacting with the president or top officials in a journalistic capacity, off camera, behind the scenes, the relations are often very cordial and are often successful in terms of asking something and getting an answer back or having a dialogue. What you see on the camera is what's actually happening is a lot more complicated than that, but what the public sees, what foreign governments see, what foreign leaders see is important too, and that's what worries me a lot.